All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about how to keep full and eliminate hunger so you can lose weight 10 times easier. Because we all know if we're dealing with the constant hunger, the constant cravings, weight loss is just so much harder and it's just so frustrating. So I'm going to teach you guys today on how you can easily keep full and how to eliminate hunger and also how our brain works when it does come to hunger, why it happens, the whole 9 yards. Now, if you get something new out of this training, if you learn something new out of this training, if this helps you out in any kind of way, make sure you do like and subscribe or follow down below so more people can see videos like this to help themselves. All right, let's dive in here, guys. So for those who don't know, my name's Caden, the CEO and founder of Coach Hayward. So the first things we're going to talk about here today is we're going to start off with the brain versus hunger. Then we're going to talk about timing. We're going to talk about foods and other factors when it comes to keeping full and eliminating hunger to lose weight. Okay, so one thing we should all know is that our brains sometimes are going to overpower us. And this is what I mean, is that you could physically be full, right? But mentally, you might want to eat more food. You ever see a food that you just absolutely love so much, but you ate a meal and you're kind of full, but you see that food and you're instantly like, I want that still. Like, I still want that. Yeah, that's your brain talking. Okay, because the way our brains are wired is our brain is wired to make sure that we never run out of energy. Okay. Our brains are wired to make sure we never, ever run out of energy. So whenever we see that sweet treat, that food, the sugar, the candy on Halloween, we instantly want to eat it because our brains are wired to never want to run out of energy. Okay. That's one of the reasons behind it. So this can sometimes battle against our normal hunger cues, right? Because our body's got its normal functions, leptin, ghrelin, functioning normally, and then your brain jumps in and then it wants to kind of take over when it comes to the hunger side of things. So that can be a battle, that's for sure. So that's kind of how the brain works, though, when it comes to hunger. Is again, we are wired to want to have as much energy. So eat. So that way, just in case let's say some bad day happens where we don't have food on our plates, we can't go get food. We have that extra energy stored in us, so we're gonna survive. Okay, that's how the brain kind of works with hunger. Now, of course, there's so many other things like emotional eating, stress eating, stuff like that as well, which we'll dive into later. But that's like how your brain's like actually wired. It's pretty cool. So the next thing that we can do here when it comes to trying to stay full, right? That when it comes to trying to stay full here, the first thing we can look at is timing, right? One thing you guys should know is like to know if you actually are hungry and it's not just a mental thing, try to pay attention to your physical body's cues. So for example, like you're going to have, whenever you get hungry, you're going to have like maybe sometimes a shakiness feeling, you're going to have low energy, you're going to have maybe a headache, you won't be able to focus as well. Your hunger is going to, your stomach's going to growl. Little things like that. Those are like physical cues to tell you that you're actually hungry and it's time to eat. Now, also to know that typically, depending on the foods you eat, right? But typically, when it comes to us eating a meal, it takes about 130 minutes, I think, 190 to 130 minutes or something like that to process the food and get into our intestines and start processing it. So we'll just say, just an easy way is every 2 hours, right? Just estimate every 2 hours or so is typically how long it takes normal food to function. Different things like steak and whatnot take longer, which we'll talk about here soon, but that's just something to know. So timing, 12 hours time frame. So one of the easiest ways to set your food up is to eat on a 12-hour time frame. So if you're trying to lose weight and build your own meal plan, do a 12-hour time frame. So let's say your first meal is at 7 in the morning, your last meal should be at 7 p.m. This is going to help tremendously with your circadian rhythm as well. So that way your just overall body can function better. So the 12-hour time frame, that's the first rule that make it easy for us. The second step is, again, 2 hours between meals. Now, you don't have to eat every 2 hours, but if you do find that you really battle with hunger and this is a really bad battle for you when trying to lose weight, then maybe you'd want to have at least a snack every 2 hours, right? Like some beef jerky, a protein shake, some apples, whatever it may be, but something like that to help you keep on track every 2 hours. Now, the next thing here is when should we eat before bed? So your goal should be eating at last meal around 3 hours before bed for like the most optimal sleep. Okay. So if that's the case, just make it so your breakfast in the morning is aligned with that 12-hour time frame, right? So before bed, that's the timing we should eat there. Now, meal sizes, when it comes to this, I always say start your day off with a high protein breakfast. I find that works tremendously well. So a high calorie, high protein breakfast, and then fuel yourself up for the day, lower carbs, and because you don't want to crush your energy. And then after that, you can kind of go on, like you could do biggest meal in the morning, medium meal at lunch, and then smallest meal at dinner. Just go based off what your body likes. So what works best for you. Everyone's different, right? Some people like a snack during the day. Some people don't need a snack. Everybody's different, but just find what works best with your body and listen to your body. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Let's see if this one, okay, we'll go over that one after. So let's go into foods. So another thing, the next thing that we can add on here, once we're building this out here to keep full and eliminate our hunger, is foods, right? Certain foods are going to help you keep full. For example, we can go to McDonald's and eat 1,000-calorie meal, a milkshake, a chicken burger, a fry, with some sauce, and that's going to not keep us full whatsoever, right? In fact, we're actually going to want more of the food. It's just because the stuff they put in the food makes you want more of it, but also just all the other things that go involved into it too, that just will naturally make us crave more, right? Like the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you're going to want to eat. And the more sugar that we have, it's going to mess up with your hunger hormones and the way they react and respond. So this is why, again, when it comes to sugar, it's so important to try to detox away from it and get away from it. So that way you can kind of break the silent addiction that's going on that our bodies have. So with foods though, so foods, very first thing, high protein, right? High protein, high protein, high protein. I can't stress this enough, especially for breakfast. After that, an easy way is do a palm of protein every single meal. The next thing is you can use caffeine in tea. So as long as you don't have any heart issues or anything like that, like your doctor told you that you can't have caffeine, caffeine is really good for helping us keep full. So you could do it like where you have breakfast in the morning, and then after you've done your breakfast, about an hour and a half to 2 hours after you wake up, have caffeine. So that way it's going to last you till lunch, and then have your lunch, and then have another piece of caffeine, whatever it may be, around 2 p.m. And that should last you for a good amount of the day. That'll help you keep full. Just make sure you're drinking enough water though as well. Now, you can use tea, of course, because there's caffeine in tea as well, like green tea, stuff like that. But caffeine is definitely helpful. The next one here is high fiber. Okay, so this kind of aligns with like the high protein. You want to make sure you're eating enough fiber as well. Things like apples, nuts, stuff like that to keep you full. It's little snacks, usually low calories as well, but it's going to help you keep full, which is going to be very, very helpful when it comes to your weight loss journey, right? We want to set ourselves up for success. Now, the next thing here is eating more greens and veggies. Now, these might not necessarily make you super full, like you're going to have to eat a good amount, but the best thing about them is that they have barely any calories, right? So you can eat a bunch. There's not really a limit that you can set to it. You can just eat a bunch of it, and eventually you'll get full, and it's going to be super low calories. So that way it's going to be super helpful for your weight loss journey. Okay. So that's the next one there is more greens and veggies. Now, the last one or the next one here when it comes to the food side of things is more water. Okay. Sometimes when we're dehydrated, instead of actually being instead of being thirsty, our bodies will aim to be hungry, because we'll get nutrients from the food. So make sure you're drinking enough water. Ladies, you should be drinking around 90 to 92 ounces a day. Men, you should be drinking a little bit more than that. Okay. And that's like the average. So that's the food side of things. Now that you can see that you can take the timing and the food and kind of connect them together, right? Kind of trying to piece those together. So let's say eating on a 12-hour time frame, and let's say you have 3 meals a day, high protein, high fiber, high protein, and then you can build that out, and then water in between with caffeine. That's going to be an amazing recipe for success here when it comes to keeping full to lose weight. Okay. Now, other things here to know about it is I find too as well, just naturally, like some people just get way more hungry than the other people. Like I'm the type of person who I have a hard time. Like I don't really get as hungry. So I'm more so full all the time. So for me, it's like packing on muscle and size is really hard, or harder, because I don't get as hungry. So I have to force feed if I want to gain mass. But losing weight, it's a little bit easier because I don't necessarily get as hungry. One thing though, there is this thing that they call, and it's just a theory right now, but it's called the set point theory. And it's basically where they're trying to prove, and there's no evidence behind it yet, but they're trying to prove that your body has a certain threshold that it likes to be at with weight wise. And every time you lose it, and every time you get away from it, other factors will happen to try to make you gain the weight back. For example, when you are losing weight, your hunger hormones will activate more, and you will be more hungry because your body's basically telling yourself like, hey, we're losing our energy storage. This is danger. We need to eat more so we can be safe, basically. Okay. Because again, our bodies are always preparing to stay alive, right? So we want to store that energy. Now, that's one thing to know though. As you lose weight, yes, your stomach will kind of like shrink in a way, like it'll get easier as you eat the smaller meals, but your hunger hormones might activate up more. You might get more cravings short term, and it's just a natural process that your body goes through. Okay. Now, moving on, other external factors that you can do here when it comes to the mental and the mind is number one, is controlling your stress. So naturally, ladies, you're gonna have cravings stuff just with your hormones. It's gonna happen here and there. But other things that we can do is, in general, as people, we can control our stress better, so that way we can have less cravings. The next thing is sleeping better. Okay, so that way we can control our stress better and also have less cravings because it's gonna help impact our hunger hormones. The next thing again is, as I mentioned, is cutting back on sugar, getting away from it. The next one is eating on smaller plates and slower eating. So that way it's going to trick us into thinking we're full quicker. And we are naturally going to eat less. The next one is getting busy. Okay. If you get bored, you ever just hang out at home at the end of the night, you're just chilling at home, relaxing, watching Netflix, and then you just get these random hungers. You just want to get this urge to eat and snack and put something in your mouth. Yeah, get busy, get out of the environment, get busy. And the last thing is get the triggers away, because when you do see those triggers like the granola bars, the snacks that you love, the food you love, it's instantly going to drag you towards it. It's going to make you want to eat more and more and more of it. So just try to keep the triggers away, right? Like if you're a smoker trying to quit smoking, you're probably going to hide the cigarettes away and the smells, so that way you're not going to have the triggers. Okay, so that's the training for today, guys. Very interesting training, though. It's super exciting. I hope you apply this to your life so that way it can help you lose weight faster and easier. If you did learn something, though, make sure you like and subscribe. And if there's anything else you'd like to see, comment down below. And if you need some help, you can chat with me on Instagram at coach.hayward. Just message me anything that you have a question on. If you want to chat about your fit goals or if you need some help, I'm always here to help as well. All right, that guys, I'll see you on the next training. Keep crushing it. Keep showing up for yourself.